This week, Kosovo's Prime Minister and Serbia's President met for yet another round of, I quote, normalisation talks led by the EU. And the key issue remains, that is the creation of a controversial association of Serb municipalities inside Kosovo. But there was some progress. Serbia agreed to help account for people still officially missing from the war. I've been speaking to Kosovo's President, Vjosa Osmani.
I believe that this is one of the greatest achievements of the dialogue process because it's one of those agreements that directly touches the lives of our people. More than 1,600 families in Kosovo are still doing their utmost to find the whereabouts of their loved ones who went missing during the war because of the forcibly disappeared actions by the Milosevic regime. Of course, we believe that they are in massive graves in Serbia, but we needed Serbia to cooperate. Now, key is implementation. I really do hope that Serbia will implement obligations stemming from this declaration.
Yet the main stumbling block right now remains what is the creation of the Association of Serbian Municipalities within Kosovo. The international community is insisting that Kosovo does this. And just by way of context, there are approximately 50,000 Serbs living in the north of Kosovo. Thousands more live across the country. Why is Kosovo against the creation of this association?
Just to put things into context, there have been almost 40 agreements signed in Brussels between Kosovo and Serbia's leaders in the past 11 years. The issue of the Serb Majority Association of Municipalities has been just one of those agreements. It is important to point out that the vast majority of these agreements have not been implemented by Serbia, including their obligation to recognize Kosovo documents, so to ask for a continuous implementation of only one of the agreements out of about 40 agreements doesn't seem to help the process. In fact, it's hurting. All agreements need to be pushed for implementation. Kosovo is not running away from its obligations. What we are ready to do is to give everything based on best European standards to accommodate the rights of Serbs, human rights, minority community rights of Serbs, but not to give Serbia an instrument through which they will continuously dismiss, diminish, and violate the principles of territorial integrity, sovereignty, as well as the functionality of Kosovo as a sovereign state.
Last month, many Serbs who live in Kosovo boycotted a local election organised by authorities in Kosovo, and their refusal clearly not an encouraging sign. What are you doing as the authorities there to better integrate the Serbian minorities, and how do they feel? What are those conversations taking place?
So there are two important aspects here. The first is that was not a voluntary boycott. The Serbs who live in the north have been under constant attacks, threats, and intimidation by the illegal structures turned into criminal gangs who are being paid, supported, and incited by President Vučić of Serbia. We need to fight these criminal gangs to make sure that our citizens in the north, Serbs, Albanians, Roma, Turks, Bosniaks alike, can feel free to exercise their right to vote as well as every other right. Finally, this is a direct, illegal foreign interference into the elections of another country. That is the key point to be remembered here.
You will be aware that the EU and the US are insisting on the normalisation of that relationship between Serbia and Kosovo, more so after the Russian invasion of Ukraine. They just cannot risk further instability in the region. And there is, of course, strong Russian influence within Serbia, one of the few European nations who supports Russia's stance on Ukraine. With that in mind, maintaining the support of your European and US allies is surely paramount to you. You cannot afford to lose that support. Does that further encourage you to normalise relations?
Of course, this is an extremely important element, but I believe it is in everyone's best interest to have normalized relations. But we have to understand, also learning from history, that normalization of relations can be achieved only through mutual recognition. But knowing how much Serbia is influenced by Russia, we also need to understand, based on lessons learned from Russia and Ukraine, that appeasement of autocrats is not the way forward. We've seen an active appeasement policy towards Vučić, and instead of making him go towards the West, it has in fact emboldened him further to reach out for more destructive measures and destabilization measures against his neighbors.
My conversation there with Kosovo's President Vjosa Osmani.